colors and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem.
My time. March. Send it. Face. Squad. Hold. Post. Color.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. I would like to welcome you all to today's assembly. We are very honored to have Command Sergeant Major Franklin Velez joining us today. Command Sergeant Major Velez is a 1988 graduate of Greater Lawrence Technical School. He's gone on to have a distinguished career in the United States Army. Yeah, applause is good. Major Velez has gone on to have a distinguished career in the United States Army. We are taking this opportunity today not only to welcome Command Sergeant Major Velez and other members of the U.S. Army, but also to recognize Veterans Day, which is November 11th. At this time, please welcome GLTS staff member and United States Air Force veteran, Mr. Jacob Elwell, with some introductory remarks.
When Francis Scott Key wrote the Star-Spangled Banner almost 200 years ago, he called America the land of the free and the home of the brave. Those words are as true today as they were then. Throughout this nation's history, America's soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen were bravely answered to the call to defend our freedom, to aid our friends and allies, and to turn back aggressors. We can never fully repay our debt of gratitude to the more than 650,000 American service members who died in battle, or the 1.4 million who were wounded. We can, however, recognize and thank the 25 million veterans still living today. These words are inscribed on the Korean War Memorial in Washington, D.C. Our nation honors her sons and daughters who answered the call to defend a country they never knew and a people they never met. Those words apply equally to many of our World War I, World War II, Vietnam War, and Gulf War veterans as well. They apply to today's active duty service members, tomorrow's veterans, who are helping to maintain peace throughout the world. Today, it is our privilege to say thank you to all of America's veterans, to let them know that we appreciate them for their service and honor them for their sacrifices. The price of freedom is high. We cannot afford to forget those willing to pay it. Today, we celebrate America's veterans for keeping this nation the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you to Mr. Elwell, and also thank you to Senior Xavier Tirado for leading us with the pledge today. I would also like to thank and recognize a number of special guests who are here with us today to celebrate and honor our veterans and active service members. Mr. Jamie Melendez, Director of Veterans Affairs for the City of Lawrence, here on the stage. 1983 graduate of Greater Lawrence Technical School. Mr. John Shields, representing Senator Diane DeZaglio's office. Mr. Tom Baranowski, representing State Rep Christina Minucci's office. Mr. Derek Baseman, representative for Congressman Lori Trahan. And our school committee representatives here today, Ms. Zoila Disla, Mr. Tom Hayden, GLTS grad and retired teacher, and Mr. Francisco Cirillo, District Committee representative. We are also honored to have Lieutenant Colonel Stephen Howe, retired U.S. Army, and the LHS Junior ROTC instructor. Thank you to the LHS Junior ROTC members that posted the colors that are here today. And representing Mayor DePena's office today, Octavian Spencer and Jose Javier. It is with great pleasure that we welcome Command Sergeant Major Franklin Velez to Greater Lawrence and welcome him back to Greater Lawrence Technical School. Welcome home. Command Sergeant Major Velez is a Lawrence, Massachusetts native and a proud graduate of Greater Lawrence Technical School class of 1988. After high school, he worked a variety of odd jobs before deciding to join the U.S. Army in March of 1990 as an infantryman. Command Sergeant Major Velez is now the Senior Enlisted Advisor with the Joint Task Force National Capital Region and the U.S. Army Military District of Washington, which provides operational, ceremonial, and musical support for locally and worldwide public events and for national security and special events on behalf of this nation's leadership. Command Sergeant Major Velez's assignments in the Army include Fort Bragg, North Carolina, Fort Benning, Georgia, Fort Campbell, Kentucky, Panama, Italy, and Germany, to name a few. His deployments include Desert Shield, Desert Storm, Haiti, Kosovo, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom, and Operation Inherent Resolve. He's received several awards and decorations to include the Legion of Merit, Bronze Star with V device, the Ranger Tab, and Air Assault Badge, among other numerous awards. Please join me in giving a warm Reggie welcome to Command Sergeant Major Franklin Velez.
All right, thank you. How's everybody doing? Good? All right. Thank you, Ms. Zelensky, Mr. Richardson. Thank you for having me here. It took us a while to get into, it took me a while to figure this out to come back to the school. I live here My mom still lives here in Seabrook, New Hampshire, but the rest of my family still lives here in Lawrence. And I come here every 6 months. Every 6 months I come in. I either spend my mom's birthday in August, or I either come for Thanksgiving, Christmas, or New Year's. So every 6 months I come through here for the last 30 years, unless I'm deployed or doing something overseas where I can't come back. But usually I'm here every 6 months. It took me 32 years to finally figure out I should come back to my school, to come back to the school where I learned a lot. And so, again, I appreciate everybody's attendance today. I know for some folks it's like, hey, you got to be here, but at the end of the day, hopefully I'm going to leave you with some parting words that you can always remember. But before I do all that, I'm going to use my time a little bit at the end, because what's really important is I need you to see some of the soldiers that I brought here with me. And the first soldier that I brought here with me that I'm going to bring out, and he's already seated right behind me and stuff like that. Well, hey, first of all, I want to thank Jamie Melendez. All right, Jamie Melendez, he's kind of like my second or third cousin. I don't know, where do you put that in? He's the cousin to my cousin, all right? So figure that out. I don't know where to put him in there, but he's in the family tree somewhere. He joined the Army before I did. And the things that you don't know, I found out that he was in the Army when we were both sitting in Saudi Arabia in 1990. I lived in one building, he lived in another building, and when we say lived, don't think of it as we had rooms. It was just a giant mortar pool warehouse where 600 soldiers sleeping together in a cot next to each other, and he had the other building. And one day we just walk outside. I walk out my building, he walks out of his building, and I'm like, Jamie, what the heck? You know, so, and then, you know, come to find out, he was, again, he joined the Army before I did. And he has significant accomplishments. He's a medic, a 68 whiskey, a combat medic. And one of the things that I didn't know at that time, but I did know as I was coming in what it meant, I was looking at his uniform and I'm like, Jamie, you're already deployed. Yeah. I jumped into Just Cause. I jumped into Panama. So if anybody reads their history, he was a paratrooper. And when you jump out of a plane in the middle of the night over a foreign country with so much stuff on your body and you don't know what's on the ground, it's pretty amazing. All right, it's pretty amazing, pretty scary, but that's his accomplishment. And you know, a round of applause for Jamie, because again, great American. So, all right, the next soldier I'm going to bring out. All right, so the soldiers that I have responsibility for is the soldiers in the military district of Washington. All right, so anything happens in the National Capital Region, Washington, D.C., our soldiers respond. A lot of the stuff that you heard was, hey, we do the ceremonial tasks, we have the bands and so forth. But each one of those, even though they have ceremonial tasks and they're the bands or they fly VIPs throughout the country, they have a wartime mission. But people don't know that. So at the end of the day, if something happens over there, hey, they take care of the National Capital Region. And so, right now I have one of the soldiers from the Old Guard and then a few other ones from the Old Guard, one of the oldest infantry regiments in the United States Army. So the soldier I'm going to bring out, his name is Sergeant Ortiz. Do not stand up yet. I'll let you know when to come up. Now stand up. Relax. All right, he's eager to tell you his story. He's going to do it in English. He does it in Spanish, and he'll tell you why, the reason why he does it in Spanish as he talks through his story. But I'm going to give you a quick snippet of his story. Sergeant Ortiz came to the United States when he was 17. He's from Mexico. He came all the way from Mexico to the United States to live with his brother up in Idaho. Yeah, I couldn't get it right. Idaho, Iowa is one of those I's up north. So he came here on a green card. Now he's an American citizen. And he had to learn English while he was here. And it was amazing. It's amazing of his story. And the other part that's just as amazing is his accomplishments, but what he's doing now to give back to the country that gave him the opportunity to enlist in the Army and to become an American citizen. So again, please listen to his story, because it is pretty impactful. And for some, it might relate. For others, it might not. But at the end of the day, we just don't know that. So, round of applause for Sergeant Ortiz from the Old Guard.
Thank you, Command Sergeant Major. Good afternoon, everybody. Who's from Mexico? I'm going to start with that. No one? Can you raise your hand? No one from Mexico? No one have parents from Mexico? Okay, so I gotta know my audience, okay? So, I'm gonna start with this. I know it's kind of, it's different seeing somebody in uniform, but I just want to put this out. 3 years ago, I was in your same seats. 3 years ago, I was in high school. I graduated high school in 2019. I came to the United States when I was 17. So back in that day, I didn't speak English at all. The only thing I knew how to say was, hello, my name is Jose, I'm from Mexico, how are you? That was it. And the reason why I started wanting to join the Army is because since I was a kid, I always wanted to do it. I remember my dad used to like drive by military bases, and he used to like slow down just so I can poke my hand out, like little Ortiz, little 5-year-old Ortiz, just so I can high-five the soldiers, because they always look as heroes. I always saw the uniform as just people that are like super responsible. They want to defend our country, right? Therefore, I had the opportunity to move to the States when I was 17. Like I said, I did not speak English at all. Worked at McDonald's for a while, worked at Burger King for a while, and then I decided, why not? I'm gonna walk myself into a recruiter station, and that was the best decision I ever took in my life. When I was trying to enlist in the military, I was looking for answers. I was looking for simple answers for like the simplest questions, like why do we shave every day, or how does our restaurant look like, or defect, what are the hours we do physical training or PT, and there was no one that could answer that questions. So once I made it in, I decided to start a social media account just to resolve that question. So you can pull up your phone right now. You can look up EL Ortiz. Is there somebody here that actually know who I am before this assembly? There's one. There's 2, 3, 4. They know me. Yeah, so you can look that up. 4, 5. You can look that up.
And so if you really know him, what's his catchphrase?
What's my catchphrase? I'll do this. I won't say it.
What is it?
No one? What is it? No, the catchphrase. Before every video, I start with. Which one? Mi gente. So it's funny, and she gave me the green light for a little bit of Spanish. Es gracioso porque yo empecé con el mi gente para conectar con todos ustedes y que las personas que hablan español pudieran entender de una manera un poquito más amigable. What I said to the people that do not speak Spanish is that mi gente means my people, and I use that to connect with the people here and the people that want to join the military. Does anybody have any questions? Come on. This question? Over there. How long is a boot camp? We call it basic training, and it depends on your job. For example, infantryman is 22 weeks. Basic training is around like 8 to 10 weeks, just depending on your reception, pretty much.
I'm gonna see if I can try to get the mic.
Okay, perfect.
I'll run around.
Yeah, so I joined the Army when I was 17, came to the Old Guard. I got selected to be in the Old Guard. Who here likes football? Basketball, football, basketball, baseball? Does anybody here that like to see baseball? So what I do now, I'm part of the Color Guard, the United States Army Color Guard, and what we do is just bring the flags over there. So I get to travel to all those events a lot. And that could be you. If you're about 6 foot, that could be you one day. All right, let's go back to the question, just to explain who I was.
Who's got a question?
Who got a question?
So Major, I have one. So what was the most memorable event that you attended, or a sporting event that you did color guard at?
All right, so
the question is, what's the most memorable event that he conducted while being a color guard?
I'll say the most memorable thing I have done. Does anybody here knows what the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is? Or like have heard about it? So 2021, January 20th, presidential inauguration. There's Mr. President, well, former President Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Honorable President Joe Biden, and I was the guy that was holding the Army flag for that event. And I remember, I still feel it as if it was yesterday. I remember holding the flag with pride and just listening to the beautiful national anthem while I get goosebumps, because whenever that happened, I felt the sacrifice. I felt like all the challenges I had to overcome to be in that position. And I just remember just thinking about my mom being proud of me, my dad being proud of me, and that, no doubt, that was the best moment of my ceremonies.
That's amazing.
What's the question?
My question is, why you gotta be 6 feet tall to do that?
Why you gotta be 6 feet? Okay, so our mission in the Old Guard is to represent the United States Army to our nation and the world. Therefore, there's a height standard. Well, there's a high standard because we want other presidents, other dignitaries to come and see that the Army have tall and strong individuals. Pretty much.
So when you look at it, right? So if you think about this, if you're a foreign dignitary of some country, and you show up to the White House, the first thing you're going to see is them. They'll be standing there. When you get off the aircraft, whatever it be, helicopter, plane, or whatever it is, and then you just come down the stairs, and then when you come down the stairs, and then you just gotta look right back up to all our soldiers that are 6 feet, 6'1", 6'2", up to 6'7". That's pretty impressive. That is pretty impressive. And it's not for an intimidating factor, but it's just to let folks know, hey, look, we got one of the well-best trained armies, and we got some tall soldiers and some disciplined soldiers. So sometimes that's why you see there'll be a height requirement for some of the jobs that we do, and sometimes it's that visual effect that we give to other folks to go, whoa, what's going on? You know, because it is pretty intimidating. I work there every day, and every time I go see them, I got to be like, all right, I got to talk to you, or either doing some discipline action or having a good time with them, but I still got to hurt my neck looking up to them going, what's your name? Frank. Okay, no, it's Specialist Frank. All right? So again, these are great kids, and again, they got to have a certain height. Not everybody's that tall, though. You can actually be a little bit shorter to get in.
So a fun fact to that, if you go to my profile, there's actually a video of the tallest currently active duty soldier in the entire United States Army. It's literally pinned, so you can see it. He's like 6'9".
Is that the kid in the white?
That's the kid in the Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers.
Okay, so yeah, that's a new soldier.
6'9".
All right, here we go.
Does anybody else have questions? Come on, let me know.
I have a question. What badge are you most proud of?
What badge are most
And
proud
how
of?
old are
Okay.
you?
I'm 21. Even though I look like 25, 26, I know. How old do you guys think I am? 25? 35, 45, okay. Who give me more, who give me more? Come on, let's go. 18, okay. Perfect, all right, let's keep it down. So I'm actually 21, and the question was which badge I'm more proud of. And that's a really good question, because I can give you the standard answer and be like, oh, like I'm proud of all the badges. But as of right now, I'll say the air assault wings.
Yo, 1, 2.
The air assault wings, as of right now. It's a course that lasts 10 days and is known as the 10 toughest days in the Army. But just right now, because I'm trying to get my paratrooper wings, which is airborne, just jumping out of planes. Just like a lot of people. So this is the badge I'm most proud of as of right now. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Alright.
I see that you make music. Can you rap for us?
Probably not. I can try, but probably not.
All right, we got time for 2 more.
All right, 2 more questions. Come on. Give me good questions. I want to hear some good questions too.
What was the most challenging thing you faced?
I have 2. I'll say the first one was I didn't speak English. So not a lot of people know this, but the Army actually pays you to go to Texas, Lackland Air Force Base, and learn English while you get paid. Not a lot of people know this, but you can do that. And you get paid. You'll be wearing the same uniform that, well, not this one, but the other uniform. But I'll say that, and the fact that I could not run. But it just takes practice and miles, and you'll get better. Trust me, you'll get better.
Hey, so one of his tests that he has to complete, they get to run 10 miles and do a whole bunch of other things. But one of the tests that he has to complete is he has to stand at position of attention, okay, for 3 hours. All right, that's his last test. For 3 hours to stand just like that, for 3 hours without moving, without picking your nose, picking your ear, nothing. He cannot move for 3 hours. Now, imagine that if he's holding the American flag with one hand. And then it is windy outside, and the flag is completely straight out, either to the left or right, and the wind is just pushing that flag. So for 3 hours, he has to sit there and hold the American flag. That's a pretty amazing task for those young soldiers. And they get trained for it. But again, I find that, you know, he has his personal, relax. He has his personal, I can keep him there for 3 hours and he'll stand there. You know, he has his personal accomplishments, but the accomplishments that I appreciate from our soldiers is the endurance that they have, the resiliency that they have. You know, for a soldier to stand out there and it's pretty cold and they're doing a funeral and they're doing some type of ceremony, to be standing there representing our country in that type of environment, it is amazing and it is extraordinary. So if you YouTube either him or YouTube whatever we're doing here, you'll probably find something that right there. All right, last one.
All right, so before the last one, we have a question for you, Command Sergeant Major Velez. Which one's your favorite badge?
Oh.
Somebody told me, I'm not gonna say who, but.
Hey, so I came in 1990. One of the things I wanted to do was jump out of airplanes. That is the only thing I wanted to do. I did not care what type of job was out there in the Army. I did not care. I knew I wanted to be an infantryman. I wanted to do a lot of things. I wanted to shoot guns and, you know, jump out of airplanes. So, as I went through basic training, I enjoyed it. I was looking at it. Again, it was one of those things. Nothing more like wearing a maroon beret in Class A uniform and this uniform and our pants stuck into our boots and so forth. It was very, you know, when I seen that the first time in my life, I thought that was pretty classic. I didn't understand what it took to be a paratrooper, but at the end of the day, that's what I joined for, and I became a paratrooper. My first jump, I will tell you, I'll give you a quick experience. My first jump out of an airplane at 1,500 feet, aircraft is going 130 knots, so you can just, let's just say 30 miles an hour, and that parachute door opens, the parachute door opens, and you're standing out there and you go out. And the instructors will tell you, your first jump, you have no idea what it's like. So nobody's scared on the plane because you have no idea what it's like to jump out of a plane. But let me tell you, we had to go back up that afternoon, and I was so scared on my second jump because now I know what it feels like to be a Dixie cup when you roll down the window on the highway out of your car and you throw that Dixie cup outside the window of your car and it goes woof. So my second jump, I was really, really scared. I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm so dumb. I don't know why I'm doing this. So I decided that I was so scared, and this time it was a bigger plane, going a little bit faster. So as I got to the door, I handed my static line. It's a little yellow cord that's connected to your parachute, that's connected to the plane. So it'll open up your parachute when you're outside that airplane. But I decided that I was so scared that as I walked outside the airplane, there's a little platform on the outside of the airplane. I sat down on it. I sat down, but I didn't sit on my butt. I sat to where my parachute hit the ramp because I thought I was, you know, I don't want to go, and I sat down, and my parachute hit the ramp, and it just kicked me right outside the airplane. So now I'm tumbling outside the airplane, and when you tumble outside the airplane, you know, there's a certain position you got to jump when you leave the airplane so that all your cables, your static line, your risers do not get tangled up so your parachute can open. Dear God, I will tell you that I flipped through them. And when it finally opened, my parachute finally opened, I had there's 4 risers. There's four lines that are coming up, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. The 2 on my right-hand side, okay, the 2 on my right-hand side were underneath my legs. And if you're at 1,500 feet, and I am screaming all the way down, yelling, I'm gonna die, and then the instructor on the ground, they have bullhorns, and they're yelling at you going, put your feet together, paratrooper, put your feet together. And I'm like, I can't, I need help. So, but believe it or not, it was the softest landing I've ever had on my 103 jumps. So again, being proud of, my first thing I've done in the Army was be a paratrooper. I'm extremely proud of being a paratrooper, my paratrooper wings, my airborne wings, because again, it's what I joined for, and that's one of the things that I find that's most exciting for me. All right, he has one question, we gotta let him go.
Last question.
Alright. What was your hardest badge to get?
Hardest badge? This one right here. So this one is called the EIB Expert Infantryman Badge. It's only for infantrymen, and it consists of 3 weeks of testing. You do land navigation day and night. You do a physical fitness test, which is like run 4 miles, do a couple push-ups, a couple of sit-ups. You do 10 tests on weapons, 10 on medical, and 10 on patrolling. So this test can involve just calling a helicopter to do an evacuation of a casualty, or disassemble a machine gun, reassemble a machine gun, or it could be just set up a patrol base. And then on the last day, you have to walk with 35 pounds plus water for 12 miles. Finish it, and then once you finish it, you disassemble your rifle, reassemble it, perform a function check, and then you get your badge. So, with that being said, if you make 2 mistakes, you're out. So you gotta do everything perfect, otherwise you're not gonna get it. So this is the hardest, but this is why I'm most proud of it, because it's gonna push my airborne wings up. But, all right, that was it. All right, so this is an amazing story because when I got to Honor Guard, I wanted to be in the drill team. And now I have a chance to introduce the United States Army drill team.
I want to put this out. Listen to this.
Their dad is extremely proud of them. They're brothers. They're the first brothers in the United States Army drill team.
How you guys doing today? So, when I first graduated, I graduated high school in 2020. It was in the peak of COVID, so like no graduation, anything like that. No schools were open when they shut down, so I took the decision to join the military because once COVID was over or everything settled down, I could actually go to school, get free college, everything like that. I graduated basic training in January of 2021, got to the old guard, was in the presidential marching unit, so I got to be standing in front of people like the Prime Minister of Japan, the President, everybody like that. It's like a very honorable thing. And then I waited until September of 2021 when my brother got here, and we both tried out for the drill team, and that's how we ended up on the same platoon.
So, in high school, I never really knew much about the military or anything like that. We didn't have GLTS or anything. So I just finished high school. I went to college for a year, and then decided to just work and get a paying job. After a while, I realized I wasn't fulfilled, so I wanted something more fulfilling, something that's going to be more honorable, and that'll lead me to the rest of my life. And so I followed my little brother's footsteps, and I enlisted in the Army. And then finished my 6 months of infantry training in Georgia, and then after that, I was shipped straight to the Old Guard. And then one of my drill sergeants, actually from basic training, used to be on the drill team, and he told me if I wanted to do something cool, to just head over to the drill team, try out. And so that's what I did. I got there, I convinced him to join the drill team with me. We did the 3-week training cycle, and we both made it. And we've been able to do a lot of cool stuff. We've traveled to Patriots games. We're going to do a Broncos game. We've been to Texas, all kinds of traveling. And we've also been able to do stuff like schools. The blue infantry badge he was talking about earlier, we both earned that this March, so that was cool. Yeah. Any questions?
All right, here we go. We got one.
Do you guys argue a lot, like when you're working together, since you're brothers?
Oh yeah, so most of our arguing is out of work. We try and stay mainly professional in work, but we're brothers. We always have the little things we're gonna bicker about.
Hey, who outranks who?
We're both specialists, but I have more time in ranks, so I make.
Okay, so the little brother is in charge of the big brother. Just keep that in mind. No matter what happens in the military, the higher rank is responsible for the lower, and the lower has to do what the higher says. So regardless if they're brothers, correct? All right, here we go.
Is there a height minimum?
For the Old Guard, there is.
No, I'm talking about
So are you talking about for the Army in general, or just for the Old Guard? So for the Army, I believe it's 5 foot, but most of the time it can be waived. But if you go to the Old Guard, which is where we're stationed, for men it's 5'8".
So minimum for males is 5'8". 5'8". For certain jobs in the Old Guard where they're at, they got to be over 6 feet and stuff like that. But for the other folks, they can be 5'8" for males. Better be good. Better be good. You got that look. You got that look.
how long do y'all practice that? Staying day and night?
So we practice roughly 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday.
Hey, so in order for these young soldiers here to become proficient, and they are now considered professionals, from 9 to 11 o'clock in the morning, first of all, get up at 5, do their physical fitness from 6:30 to 8, all right? PT from there, so they can be doing running, weight training, doing whatever they need to be. They're in the gym, they're out there running, they're out there running the monuments up in Washington, D.C., because it's a great place to be. So, and then they go eat breakfast, they go take a shower, go change, and then they go from 9 o'clock to 11:30. They're doing this. And then they go to lunch, and then they come back at 1 o'clock to between 1 o'clock to 4 to 5, they're doing it again. So this is their job every day. They're not only infantrymen, and if we get called to do something in the National Capital Region, they got to respond. But that's how long every day they spend on that task. And that's only a small portion of what they do, because there's 25 of them. And when you put all 25 together, it is an impressive show to see. But again, it is a long, hard, arduous day. Again, it starts off with physical training, and then their task right there is just as physical. If you touch these rifles, these are not fake weapons. They're not plastic, they're not toys, they're actually made out of wood. all right? There are actual real weapons demilled, actual bayonets. They're not sharp bayonets because kids want to go up to them and touch the bayonets, and then all of a sudden they cut themselves, and now we're completely responsible for something else. But at the end of the day, to try to figure out where the balance point of that weapon system is, it is amazing. It is a skill. It takes time to figure out, hey, I'm going to balance this on my finger, my index finger, to find out exactly where it's at, and how strong they have to be, how their forearms, and so forth, because you just can't throw around that weapon system. You have to have skill for it. All right, any more questions? Oh, all right, hold up. Here you go. Okay, last question.
Have you guys like ever messed up and like hit each other in the head with it, or like hit each other at all with it?
Yeah, we actually do. Most of our mess ups are during practice. We have very few actually mess ups during performance. Earlier this year during a rehearsal, we do a move where it's called throws and catches. So you throw it over 2 ranks of people, and then the person in the back catches it. It came down, and the 2 rifles struck, and it actually hit somebody in the head, and then down in the calf, and you had to get stitches.
So you notice I said 25, right? 25 soldiers? There's only 2 left because the others are already messed up. Only kidding, all right? There's only, hey, but again, let's give a round of applause for our drill team. Hey, now I'm going to introduce the United States Army Band, Persians own. They will do their introduction. These are musicians. Who plays an instrument here? Raise your hand. Who sings? Who raps? Whatever. What do you got? All right. So these are professional musicians. They learn their skill when they were little kids. They worked their way up, and then they decided that they want to do this for their country. So they have unique stories themselves. One of the things, how to get into that organization, I'm going to go ahead and spoil it right now. How you get into the United States Army Band. You don't join the Army, you have to audition. All right? You have to say, if I want to be in the United States Army Band, I have to find them on the website. Well, they send out a lot of information. But you go on the website and you figure out when the audition is. Just you right now, your senior year, when you get out of school, you can go ahead and do that and go, look, all right, let me see this. But again, only if you got those skills. You sign up, they'll fly you over, and you will audition for them. And if they accept you, then you join the Army. But you only join the Army, you do the Army training for 6 to 8 weeks? Not, what is it? 8 weeks. Okay, they amped it up by 1 week. All right, so 9 weeks, they learned how to be a soldier. But once they're done that, they too go back to their organization, and they do a lot with their equipment, instruments, and so forth. They are professional musicians. They do this day in, day out, 365, 24/7, constantly on their pieces of equipment. So again, they're very professional with many bands around the world, so it's pretty interesting to watch them play. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the United States Army Band, Persians own.
Reggie students. Thank you for joining us today for this special event. And a special thank you again to Command Sergeant Major Velez for honoring us with his visit with the members of his team.